So now when I came back in 2018, I mean, I was already, 2 years in. 2018, I work, and then an opportunity presents itself for me to go study overseas, to do my master's in actuarial science, which over there they call insurance and risk management. For me, it's a way out because I flipping hated the insurance thing is still not in my head.
But how did that opportunity come? Like when you say,
so my dad,
opportunity came, it's like you didn't apply for it.
No, I eventually ended up applying for it. Look, I'd always wanted to go do my degree overseas. I actually wanted to go to the London School of Business and Finance. But, like I'm saying, my dad always saw where I would eventually end up. So he looked for a program which was overseas, which was more in line with what he always saw that I'm going to end up falling in love with. So he had the foresight. So that's when he brought this program to me while I was in the office. He's like, yo, apply for this. So I applied, gave me a 50% scholarship on the tuition. And for me, I mean, it was a way out of SA, breath of fresh air. You failed in all these businesses. It's happened. There are too many.
Finally, you have a break.
Finally, you have a break. So I'm out. It's a fresh start. I know nobody there. But, man, that's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life because, being somewhere where nobody knows you, you don't know anybody, it sort of unlocks your true potential as a person because now it allows you to focus on what's really important, which is what's inside you. And for me, being a Christian, it also allowed me to hear God's voice much clearer without distractions. So when I was there, man, that's when I finally figured out, look.
What did it do for you mentally? Like the fact that you were in SA, where you are surrounded either friends, family, you have people to bounce off ideas with, then you are in a new environment overseas. I can imagine you get there. Mentally, what's going through your mind? And when you look back, how did that frame the way you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, you leave the country, right? In your head, you're alone by this time. Yeah. Oh, my word, it's really happening. Fortunately, I'm not machangani back. I've been fortunate and blessed. A long time ago. I honestly glad journey. Where did they say it? But I mean, it's crazy because all of this. I mean, I'll tell you. I packed my bags the night before I flew because it's still like the reality still hadn't sunk in of the decision that I'm about to make. So fast forward, I land in Italy, man. I get there. In my head now, I'm just like, now all the fears start creeping in. Am I going to be accepted where I'm going? Am I going to have a good time? What's going to happen with the language barriers? What to expect? I'm living in a foreign land now. Things we're used to doing certain things in SA. I've visited Italy a couple of times, but now I'm going to live there. What did I get myself into? So mentally, man, but I'll tell you, once I set my mind to something, I'll go for it. Even when fear creeps in, I go. It's like how I went to jump bungee now in Vic Falls. I was scared as hell when I was still sitting there, but I did it,
Yeah.
Because once I set my mind to something, I go for it. So from a mindset point of view, man, it just made me more resilient and stronger. And you being in a land where nobody really knows you, it's like a clean slate, right? So now it allows you to even go for things that you wouldn't ideally go for. It opens up this daredevil kind of thing, I was thinking on a completely different frequency, man. It was crazy because now I'm bouncing off ideas with people who they owe me nothing. So I can be brutally honest. And they come from all different parts of the world. I mean, now I have friends from Malaysia, Estonia. I didn't even know it existed. It's like a small country in the former Soviet Union. I've got a lot of other Greek friends, Italian friends, and all these people have shaped the way that I think right now because of the experiences that they came with. And man, I was bouncing off business ideas. And if Europe and more especially Italy is not very friendly to entrepreneurs. That's why all the big companies over there are all family owned. It's like, okay, an idea, they have had an idea, Now it's 2-3 centuries in, or 50, 60 years, this family has been doing this and they become dominant in that field. It's not easy for somebody to come up with something out of
For self-starters.
Yeah. So obviously I was working in and around designing whatever I needed to do for South Africa. And I fell in love with insurance, man, over there because of the way that they taught it. And I found a common ground because I really love tech. And I really love how tech can simplify a whole lot of stuff. And I said, okay, so now my love for tech, I mean, I'm not a coder, I'm not a programmer or anything, but I love technology and I love what it does. But I'm an insurance guy and I know how everything works. And me having done my master's, I know how the back end of everything works, the actuarial modeling and so on. And I know how to sell and how to structure and underwrite from my experience working with my dad as a broker,
Yeah.
So this I'm really good at. This I love. How do I find that common ground? And that's how Entry Show was born.
So take us through that. I mean, this is an idea that was born when you were overseas. Is it born then in the midst of you pursuing and finishing your degree studies, or was it born right after you concluded your degree studies and wanting to go back into the country, South Africa?
So, crazy story. Coming back to SA was not even part of the plans. My dad knows this. He wasn't impressed when I decided to stay. So, Entry Show didn't even come about as Entry Show. There was a concept I was working on called Pi Living. I was working on it.
Pi Living?
Yeah.
What's that?
Pi Living was a digital rental agency for student accommodation. I think some of the companies that actually came about with similar ideas, Digs Connect and so on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so around the early days when they were also starting out and everything, we were already working also on the Pi Living concept. So obviously, the Pi, you share a Pi, so shared living spaces for students.
Sure.
Yeah. So Pi Living was a play on digitalizing most of that rental model and how we can put the power in the property owner's hands and also the tenant. And then the tech is just the middle ground.